I'm a little frustrated and annoyed at our Justice Department, whoever is editing and modifying Wikipedia, and whoever is actually doing or getting granted research on psilocybin. For the past, 50 years, it's been widely reported that psilocybin is a hallucinogenic substance, and it's not. It's not. It is actually very unlike lysergic acid and lysergic diethylamine, MDMA, and other hallucinogenic, in the sense that you actually never experience that level of cognitive activation. What you're actually experiencing is activation of synesthesia of the cognitive regions of the brain, the visual region of the brain, and the sensory cortex. And the reason I know that is because I actually experience visual, auditory synesthesia when I'm probably saying that wrong, synesthesia. It's when one or more senses are conjoined, in a sense, where there's a sense or even just a cognitive process tied to a sense. But when I'm relaxed and I'm listening to music and I close my eyes, the beats, and I've had this happen since I was a child, the beats actually become flashes of light. They actually become different pulsations, and that turns into different geometries with my eyes closed. And with my eyes open, for whatever reason, the neural pathway is not there to be triggered. Except when I was taking psilocybin mushrooms, and that sensory pathway was open when my eyes were open. And every sound was kind of combining with visual phenomena. And when I say kind of, that's where I can understand the misrepresentation of the psilocybin being a hallucinogenic substance, because that kind of combination is not true synesthesia, as it were, but rather a mediated synesthesia. Why is this important, though? It's because they're classifying psilocybin as the same state as LSD, LSA, MDMA, DMT, and it's not. It is an antidepressant. It is not. It is an antidepressant with synesthesia activation properties, resulting in a high euphoric, pseudo hallucinatory state. It is not true hallucinations. Your brain is not truly activated on the whole region of it to produce something that is not reality. It's taking sensation and reality and combining it to form an augmented reality, an augmented perception. And not only that, but the justice.gov is giving inaccurate information that on onset you're going to experience panic, anxiety, what was the other one? Nausea, vomiting on the onset of psilocybin, which is ridiculous. When you crystallize psilocybin when you precipitate it out of a solution and you take that alone, there is no nausea, vomiting, there's none of that. There is the onset of euphoria, and you might feel mild, like super mild anxiety, which quickly goes away and is replaced by, again, this augmented reality, not hallucinations. Also, it says lack of motor coordination on justice.gov website. That is complete bullshit. If you just take psilocybin, and again, in crystallized form, your motor coordination is augmented. You can do backflips, you can do all sorts of stuff. It may not feel like it at first, but it's because the sensations that your brain is receiving is now combined with your visual. It's now combined with your cognition. So if you have a thought that when you push down on a hard gymnast bar, say you have that thought, right? Is this bar stretchy, then your brain will begin to mimic the stretchiness even if it's rigid and hard. And it may seem to an inexperienced person of perception that the bar is now rubber, but to a person that has experienced synesthesia before, what you actually experience is that the bar is just as hard. It just has a little more give. You're more aware of the give, as it were. So I kind of just wanted to get that out, that, you know, there's these inaccuracies, and you really have to do your own research, because they do this research. It gets in medical journals because no one can peer review their study. No one has the licensing to actually do that peer-reviewed study on such a highly classified substance. You know, like, it's classified as Schedule 1. Who else is going to fucking do the research? Who else is going to have that many participants under the exact same rigorous scientific conditions? No one. And then they keep saying it's hallucinogenic, it's hallucinogenic. It's all about set and setting. If you have the right set and setting, it will be shown that it's a synesthetic. If you use a wrong set and setting, it will be shown that it is hallucinogenic. Because it's so suggestive that when you say to a person, when you take this, you're going to hallucinate. You can give a person fucking Ritalin and say you're going to have a mystical experience, and 13% of them will have it. But in the case of psilocybin cubensis mushroom, where you're combining cognition with sensation, when you tell them you're going to have a hallucination, their cognition is saying, I'm going to hallucinate. And now every sensation that comes is going to be under that context, under that guideline of, I'm going to hallucinate. And so now it's going to be combined in the weirdest and wackiest ways to produce a pseudo hallucination that a person cannot distinguish between a real hallucination, which I've had. I have had real hallucinations, both from drugs and without drugs. And it is not what psilocybin induces. Psilocybin induces augmented reality. And it needs to be, you know, people need to be educated on that. Anyways.